Hey folks, single dad here, single dad living. Today we'll be cooking a little bit of dinner for the kids and I. And on the menu tonight, we're going to be doing a hamburger steak with a grilled onion brown gravy, our gratin potatoes, and corn on the cob. The gratin potatoes are going to be coming from my Augustin Farms dehydrated sliced potatoes. So that's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. Hopefully really good. We'll find out here in a few minutes. But first, before we get into the kitchen and start doing some things in there, cooking, you know, I'd like to talk about the challenges of being a single parent. Hence the notebook here with the challenges. Not really, but still, there's a few. You know, being a household with two parents, a mom, a dad, or two dads, or two moms, however you want to look at it. But being in a household with a two-parent family is hard enough as it is. It really, really is. You know, both of you are working, both of you are cleaning and doing laundry and taking care of the bathroom and taking care of the kids, making sure they get bathed and fed and clothed. And that's hard. That's really hard to do with two people. With one person doing it, it don't go to double everything. It goes to triple the work. It really does. I've been doing it for almost 2 years now. Being a single dad with two teenagers, a boy and a girl. Both of them teenagers, so you already know the struggle is real there. But, you know, it's all in how you manage yourself, manage your time, manage your money. It's what makes it difficult. All those things. You know, no longer am I doing, you know, just my work clothes and some of the kids, you know, or mine and my son's clothes. We can kind of wash those about together. But, you know, with my ex-wife and my daughter, their clothes would kind of get done together. Well, it's not like that anymore. So, you got to manage your time very, very wisely as a single parent. You really do. And, you know, with you working, you know, quite a bit, you know, a lot of you are going to be working 8-hour days, 5 days a week, sometimes 6 or 7 even. I myself, I work 12 hours a day. Not 5 days a week in a row, but I'll work 3, I'll get off for 2, I'll work 2, I'll be off for 3, and that's kind of how my schedule works. It just kind of flip and flops around like that, and that's fine. I can handle that. You know, I've got 2 teenagers. They're pretty well much self-sufficient. They can wash their own clothes. They can make macaroni and cheese or ramen noodles or throw something in the microwave or the toaster oven, and they can get something to eat. But also, as a single parent, I don't want my kids eating just macaroni and cheese with some hot dog cut up in it, or just ramen noodles and pizza rolls or frozen burritos. Ugh. Everybody's sick of eating that crap. So I try to manage my time on my days off, in between doing some of these videos, of cooking them home-cooked meals. You know, I can do 2 or 3 items in a day, and we can have that throughout my work week. You know, while I'm at work, because I don't get off till late. I get home about 8 o'clock. Well, the kids already needed to eat by then, so I've made these little meals, and they can throw them in the microwave and reheat them out of the refrigerator, or they can pull them out of the freezer, and they can cook them in the microwave that way too. Because everything I'm going to do is already pre-cooked. It just basically it's like a frozen TV dinner. You just pop it in for, you know, 6-8 minutes and wham bam, you're done, and it's time to eat dinner. So, you know, not to get off topic of this like I've been doing, but, you know, we can go into cleaning. We can go into doing the laundry for the kids, you know, because I still do their laundry too. I do their laundry. I do mine. I do quite a bit of house cleaning. Of course, the kids do help, you know, when I can get them to help. But it's a struggle sometimes. But I can get them to do that, and I can get them to do their own laundry whenever I really get on to them to get it done. As far as the making the meals things like I have here on my list, like I just said, I can take one of my 2 days off or one of my 3 days off, and I can spend it making 2 or 3 different meals that can be thrown into the freezer or the refrigerator, and that's a big help. But what really makes life easy, and it really does, is to just plan everything out on a weekly basis. Make yourself a schedule. You know, today we're doing laundry. And we're gonna clean the living room and the bathrooms. You know, that's gonna happen on a Saturday or a Sunday, once a week or once every 2 weeks. You know, on the cleaning the bathroom and stuff. Laundry, it's always pretty well much the same. Any day off that I get, for me, it's like, okay, let's get laundry done. Let's get it done. Get it out to the washer, the dryer. Let's get it done and over with, folded, put up, wham, bam. No matter what. That's really important. Another thing to do is to do a meal plan schedule. You know, I haven't even fully gotten to that point yet as being a single parent. I've just been so busy with a new move away from another state into a house with nothing. We had absolutely nothing but basically some photo albums and the clothes on our backs and a couple of pots and pans. That's honestly, that's it. No beds, no furniture, nothing. As a matter of fact, when we had a house before we had anything else to come into. So we sat on the floor for 2 or 3 days there. And this is even after I got a job and got to working. We sat on the floor for 2 or 3 days. I bought camping chairs, those fold-out camping chairs, and that's what we sat in. There was no TV. The only entertainment we basically had was from our cell phones, and we could listen to music and watch YouTube videos, and that's about it. That's really and truly all we had. We basically ate on the floor. We ate out of paper plates, and that's how we started out on our new journey. So now it's coming down to the point to where our scheduling is coming in. Okay, we're doing this, we're doing that. We're making this week. Next week we're gonna make that for dinner, for lunch. You know, there's a lot of times I eat nothing but sandwiches. You know, just a plain old ham sandwich, maybe with a little mayonnaise or mustard. Sometimes there's cheese on it, sometimes there's not. It just really depends. Bread gets expensive. It can get expensive anyway. So I've found now that it's easier to make my own loaf of just regular old white bread. It's, you know, it takes time to make it, but that's one of the things I do to kind of cut the cost. I could spend 89 cents or 88 cents for a loaf of white bread, and that's fine. Well, I can make a loaf of white bread for, you know, 15 cents. And that's including the cooking time, the oven time, because it don't cost much to run a toaster oven to bake bread in. It really doesn't. So, you know, just hang in there with me, folks. My journey might be similar to yours. It might not. Everybody is different. Everybody's systems are going to be different. I would like to start sharing what works for me. And I can only hope that it helps you out as a single parent. Even if you're not a single parent, there's 2 of you together raising kids, and you're like, oh my gosh, we're so busy with work and doing this and trying to go out and have fun and stuff, and it's just not working. It's just not coming together. Just hang with me. We'll all come together with a plan and see how these things start to work out. So without further ado, I'm going to get into the kitchen, and I'm going to start with my au gratin potatoes, or a cheesy, yummy potato recipe on the back of my au gratin. I'm sorry, not au gratin. My Augustin Farms dehydrated sliced potatoes. So we're going to get started with that, and from there we'll go on into our little hamburger steaks with our grilled onion brown gravy. So I'll see you here in just a second. Hey folks, this is Single Dad Living. Today I'm going to be using my Augustin Farm potato slices, dehydrated potato slices, and I'm going to make a gratin potatoes with it. Now honestly, I don't know exactly how to do them from scratch, but on the back of this bucket, they've actually got a recipe for cheesy, yummy potatoes, and that's what they're called. And so what I've done is I'm just following the directions that they did. So what I've done is I've taken 6 cups of the dehydrated potatoes, and I placed them in a bowl, and I brought to a boil 3 quarts of water with salt in it. And I took that, and I put the potatoes down here in this bowl, and I poured the water on it once it was hot and boiling, and I let it sit for 20 minutes. And this is what I've got, are these nice potato slices that are nice and tender and tasty. And I've drained them off. I've kind of let them dry out just a little bit. They're still just a tad bit damp. But I've done that, and I've got my potatoes ready. So I'm going to dump those in my bowl. Back down in my bowl. Here. Now it says you need a 2 to 3 quart casserole pan. I've got this aluminum pan. I don't know exactly how big it is, but I've got it. And I'm hoping it's 2 to 3 quarts. I really do. Get that out the way. And along with it, now this recipe calls for they're dehydrated onions, and you refresh those and you saute them up. I just used 1 large Vidalia onion. And I sauteed it off in some bacon grease because I cooked some bacon earlier today. So that's what this is here, is just the onions that I've sauteed in some bacon grease. So, or 1 large onion that I just sliced up. I didn't chop it up or anything. I just sliced it up, and I'm just going to add it in. Now with that, it also calls for 1 cup of sour cream. So I've got my cup of Walmart brand Great Value sour cream. I think it's $1.48 for a 16-ounce container, so I get 2 cups out of it. One cup of this recipe, and then I've got another cup for whatever it is I want to do later on. Get in there, sour cream. So I've got that. It also calls for 1 can of condensed cream of mushroom soup, and this is, obviously the Walmart brand. This is a 10.5-ounce can. So I'm going to dump that in. Scrape out the goodness. Now the Great Value cream of chicken soup here that I've got, this is pretty inexpensive stuff. It's about 50 cents a can, I believe, is what I paid for it. You go to the other name brand stuff, it gets a lot more expensive. So we got that out. Got that mixed in. Let me get the spoon over there. And it also calls for a cup of sharp cheddar cheese that you shredded. I don't have sharp cheddar. I just have a Colby Jack, and I believe it's mild. I don't even say if it's mild or not, but I'm sure it is kind of a mild cheese. So it says just to add that on in. Now the instructions don't say to add this into the potatoes. It just says mix it all together in a bowl, and then you put your potatoes in your casserole pan, and you pour this over the top of it. I ain't got time for that. I ain't messing up 20 bowls. Now, it also says just season with salt and pepper. So I'm going to sprinkle in about almost a teaspoon of pepper. Not quite, but close to it. And I'm going to add about the same amount of salt. Not much. So, at that point, what you want to do is you just mix it together. So we're going to mix it all up. Now it also says for me to butter my pan. Well, I've got an aluminum pan or casserole dish here. I'm not too worried about cleaning it up and anything stuff sticking to it really, even though I'm sure this is going to stick to it somewhat. But really, it don't look too bad. Don't smell bad. So anyways, all right, so I've got this mixed up. And there we go. That's what we got right there. Just a little mixed up stuff. It's almost like an au gratin potato, I guess. Not really, but it is. Oh yes, I forgot. We got to add 2/3 of a cup of milk. I'm sorry, I forgot about the milk. So let me get my milk out. Now this is a powdered milk that I've mixed up. It's from great value. It's from Walmart, and one package makes a quart, so I used 2 packages, and I made 2 quarts or half a gallon. And this is a non-fat instant milk. So we're going to go 2/3 of a cup. So we're going to add that in. There's the milk. Get that back in the refrigerator. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. I thought this was looking a little thick. Need a little something, a little sauciness. That milk is going to give you a little bit of sauciness with it. Oh yeah, see, I creamed up that soup. Okay, yeah, that's much better. I like that. That's nice. So, anyways, what you're going to do at this point in time is you're going to put it down in your buttered or your lubed up casserole pan. And I'm hoping this will fit. I really am. And it does. Thank goodness. It does. It's all going to fit. It's going to get spread out in this pan. Now, the recipe also calls for corn flakes to be sprinkled up on top. And I'm sure that would be good, but I don't have corn flakes. I don't. So I'm going to treat it kind of just like an au gratin potato, and I'm going to sprinkle some cheese up on top of it. Now, so I am going to just sprinkle a little bit more cheese on it and see what happens. Now, I will be baking this at 350 degrees for about an hour. Well, 30, 45 minutes, almost an hour at 350. And hopefully it's going to come out just fantastically good and tasty. We're going to see here in a little bit. Now, this is for dinner tonight. I'm doing this for dinner tonight. So I'm not going to bake it off immediately. And I'm not going to put a lot of cheese on it. It's already got cheese inside of it. So it don't need a lot more on top. Just enough to kind of pretty it up a little. So that was, honestly, that was about half a cup of cheese in all reality. So here it is. My cheesy, yummy potatoes from Augustin Farms dehydrated potato recipe. It's on the back of the bucket. It is here on the back. Flip it around. I know you can't see it, but it's down here. And so far so good. It's looking good and yummy. I can't wait to really try it out. And here in a few minutes we're going to get started on the rest of dinner, which is going to be basically a hamburger steak, what we call a hamburger steak out here in the South. And all that is just a hamburger patty with grilled onions or fried onions and brown gravy sitting on top of it. So, and this is one of the little side dishes that's going to go with that. So when I get ready to start on my hamburger steaks and gravy, I'll bring you in and we'll finish off the video. And be sure to like and subscribe. If you do like what you're seeing, go ahead and subscribe, share it, ring that bell. That way you can be notified when I'm actually doing something. I only get so many days off a week, and I try to cram a few things in while I'm doing it. So anyways, here you go, and we'll be back when we get started on the hamburger steaks. Alright, so my hamburger patties are all done, as you can see. I've got them just sitting over here in this aluminum tray, which is fine. I've got my onions here. They're right at being done. I just threw them in. I poured probably 3/4 of the grease that came off of all those hamburger patties out, and into another container. Because I'm not going to use it. I'll just throw it out. I'm just going to let it congeal. I'm not going to let it go down the sink or anything. I'll just throw it in the regular trash. But you know, I've got my onions. They're caramelizing. They're looking really good and delicious. And all I've done to them, besides just throwing them down in that little bit of hamburger grease that was left in the pan, I added a little bit of salt, maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and about a 1/4 teaspoon, maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon of some black pepper. And that's all I've done. And I've just let them kind of cook down nice and slow. I'm on a medium-low heat. With it being cast iron and all, and even actually that's, once I got my pan hot, that's how I cooked my hamburger patties, was basically on a medium-low heat. And I got those done like that. So now I'm going to add my water to it. And I've got, what I've got, I've got 2 and, it looks like 2 2/3 cup of water. I'm not going to use all of it, I don't believe. But I'm going to add a majority of it in there. So I'm going to leave myself about 1/2 cup. About 1/2 cup of water. And I know you're thinking, well, you're crazy. How can you make gravy with water, onions, and grease? But believe me, you can. If you know anything about making any kind of gravy at all, it's usually just it's equal parts. How can I put this? They always say it's equal parts of fat and flour, whether it's grease, butter, lard, canola oil, whatever. If you're using 2 tablespoons of one, then you need 2 tablespoons of flour. It's always equal parts. But we're not doing that today. I'm not using milk or cream. I'm using water and grease. And the only reason there's grease in there is because of the hamburger patties, and I've been sauteing my onions in it. And at this point in time, all I'm really doing is I'm just kind of lightly going over the bottom of my cast iron skillet. I'm not trying to scratch the crap out of it or anything, because I've worked hard kind of building up the seasoning. I've been using it quite often. I just bought the thing about a week or 2 ago, but I've been cooking everything I can in it to kind of build up the seasoning in it, and I don't want to just scrape it off. And it sounds like I'm just scraping, but I'm not. I'm just letting the spatula just kind of just drag across it. And we're basically picking up all that caramelized meat fat and stuff that was on the bottom of the pan. And it's looking good, and I think I've got it all. I don't really feel any more resistance from what was actually caramelized onto the bottom of the pan. So I've done that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add the rest of this water because I don't think it's going to make enough of the gravy, the brown gravy that I want. So I'm going to add the rest of that. So that's 2 2/3 cup of water that I've added. Now then, this is the better than bouillon, no beef base. I brought it out of the refrigerator, and it's been sitting out for a couple of hours now, and it's kind of loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fortify my gravy by adding a tablespoon of it. That's about what it looked like. I was pouring probably a little bit more than a tablespoon, but I don't know how much more, because I don't measure. I just add till I think it's good. And that's how I cook. I mean, you can be precise and what all, but if it comes down to it, honestly, that was probably a tablespoon and a half of the beef base. I'm thinking it's probably more of a tablespoon in all actuality. I really do. So I'm going to get that kind of mixed in with the water. And as you can see, it's already kind of darkened up. It's making this nice, delicious looking sauce. I got to caramelize the onions, the water, and the beef base. I mean, the water was already looking a little brown to begin with, but that beef base, or that no beef base that I used, it really just darkened it up, and it's going to make a nice dish, delicious gravy. The end, brown gravy. And so what I've got in here is I've got my tablespoon of cornstarch that I've let settle, and I've got about a tablespoon and a half of cold water mixed in with it. So, and that's kind of settled down. That's why I'm stirring it up. That's it. So right there. This is what's going to thicken my gravy. normally you would use flour, but flour don't work for brown gravy very well. You'll end up with something kind of, I don't know, pasty. It'll be light in color. It just won't look good. And it probably won't taste all that good either. But if you've got a recipe that uses flour, then by gosh, use it. I like to use cornstarch because it just works. It works for me. And so that's what I use. Now, see, I didn't even add all of it. Because, you know, a brown gravy isn't super thick. It's kind of thin. See, now that's just not enough. You can usually tell because cornstarch will thicken up pretty fast. But it is kind of getting a little glossy, which is nice. I like that. A little more mixy mix. We're just going to add all of it. Just be done with it. And it won't truly come to the full thickening pie until it actually starts to bubble or boil, simmer, whatever you want to call it. And in all honesty, I don't even know if that was quite enough. It looks like it was, but I've got to let it get a little bit hotter and get a little bit, see how it's going to thicken up. Because right now, I mean, it just runs right off. It's not thick enough. So I might have to add a little bit more to it. But as of right now, it's looking pretty good. It's a little thin. But like I said, when it starts to thicken up, or as it gets hotter, it'll start to thicken up a little bit more. Which is what we want. Anyhow. So come on and get hot. Get hot and thicken up, please. And it's a little bit thinner than what you're going to get out of the packaged gravy. Right now, at this point in time, you know, you go and you buy the McCormick or the Great Value brand brown gravy in a package. I like that stuff. I do use it. Today I just don't have any, and I didn't want to run to the store and buy any. Not just for this, you know. So I figured, well, I've got the bouillon, and I'll just make it. Yeah, and it is just a little bit thin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some more cornstarch. And I'm going to add it back into my little measuring cup here. I don't know how much. That looks about like another tablespoon is what it looks like I've done here. Get in there a little bit extra. All right. Almost put my spoon back in my container. Well, that'd have been a wreck. Yeah, see, it's starting to come to a boil now, and it's really not thickening up much. So, let me add a little bit of water. Cold water, always cold water to your cornstarch. And this here, I'm not going to add a whole lot of water to this batch this time, because I don't want it any thinner than it is. I just want to dissolve that cornstarch down just enough to where I can use it. Get it dissolved into the water here and get it to thicken up. You don't want to use too much of this anyways, because it'll end up with a weird cornstarchy flavor. Ooh, there we go. That's okay. That's what we're looking for right there. That just thickened up almost instantly. That came out really, really nice. Ooh, yeah. Let me rinse my spoon off. I want to give it a taste. I don't want to taste cornstarch. And it's not like flour. You don't have to let this cook out. Well, look at that there. That is just looking nice. Ooh. Okay. We're going to taste it for seasoning. Now look at that. See, now that's a nice little brown gravy right there. So, taste it for some seasoning real quick. But it's smoking hot. That actually has a really nice little beefy flavor to it, which is real good. Now that vegetable-based stuff, I understand why my buddy gave it to me now. I mean, it don't have a true beefy flavor to it. But, excuse me, it does have a good flavor to it. It's almost like a beef base. It really is. It's very similar to it. And I got to give it to the people that make that Better Than Bouillon company. They did a good job of doing a beefy substitute for people that don't eat it. I eat it. So let me get my hamburger steaks. Oh no, did I spill it? No, I didn't. Thought I splashed a little bit. Get that kind of covered up. So see now, I got my hamburger patties back in there. And they're getting covered with that onion gravy. That grilled onion brown gravy. And boy, that's looking just good. I hope y'all think it looks good too. I don't know if you do or don't, but if you don't, shame on you. Because I think that looks fantastic for somebody who just throws stuff together. That's not a bad little gig right there. That'll make a nice dinner, a nice, wonderful, comforting, warm dinner tonight, even though it's 93 degrees outside. It's still just making a fantastic little dinner for us. Like I said, we're not going to eat all this tonight. That's why I've made so much. I'm surprised. Honestly, I'm surprised I even got all the hamburger patties back in it. So I'm going to let that just kind of simmer away. And I'm going to lower the heat because I don't want it to scorch. So let me get down here. I'm going to turn that down to where if a fly comes buzzing by, it might actually put the fire out. That's how low it is right now. I mean, that is low. You can't get this low on an electric stove. You gotta have gas to get as low as what I just got. We got that. Excuse me while I walk past you. I'm gonna check on my potatoes real quick. They're looking good. They're right around. We're getting close to the 30-minute mark. Maybe just a hair bit after 30 minutes. Excuse me again while I walk past you. I'm gonna get some water in that aluminum pan because all that did was just hold my beef patty, so I can actually wash this aluminum pan up and reuse it for something else. So there we go. I mean, this is basically just dinner. I haven't done the corn yet. I'm kind of gonna hold off on doing the corn right now because I only want to cook it once and not have to reheat that later on for dinner. All this, I can get all this plated up or put into my little black containers, snap lids on them, and me and the kids can eat that. When I say my little black containers and stuff, now these come with lids, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. These little black containers right here, they're fantastic. They're microwavable. You can't put them in an oven, but they are microwavable, and they're washable. And what I like about them is if I get something greasy like this, I can put in here and I can still microwave it, and it's not going to leave that red looking grease ring around the sides that you get with the white ones that you can never ever get out. So that's why I use these. I love them. I'll use the white ones for leftover stuff. Something that's not necessarily greasy, but just, and I'm definitely not going to reheat it them. I'm just going to put it in there, snap a lid on, and put it in the refrigerator and have it, have my leftovers later on. But here lately, I've been, using these for leftovers and had lunches and dinners and frozen meals and such, and they seem to work out just fantastic. Really, they're worth every penny because all these I've already used them all 5-6 times at least that much, 5 or 6 times, and still using them. I'm getting my money's worth out of them. I got 15 of them for $8 and some change. I'm sure it was $9 and some change with the tax and what all. Great investment though, I promise you. You can find me at Walmart. You can find them at Walmart. If I've still got, yeah, I do. because I just keep stuff and don't throw it away. But here it is. It's the Walmart brand Mainstays meal prep food storage containers. A 15 pack. They're BPA free. They work great. I promise you, these things are just fantastic. I love it. You see if it says right here on the thing, great for meal planning and portion control. TV dinners. That's your TV dinner. You're not going to get a hungry man meal in it. Throw that in the trash finally. You're not going to get a hungry man meal in this, but you're going to get something that's going to hold you over for the day. Through lunch, through the night while you're sleeping. You ain't going to wake up going, oh God, I need a chip. I need to eat a potato chip. I'm suffering. No, you don't need any of that. It's going to hold more than enough. Because I promise you, and I'm going to show you, by the time all this is said and done, I'm going to show you that I can get 2 of these hamburger patties in there, in one of these, with the gravy, my cheesy, yummy au gratin potatoes that I've made from Augustin Farms, and I'll get an ear of corn in there, or at least a half of an ear of corn in one of these, and I'll get it sealed up. I promise you I can fit all that in there. Guaranteed. So anyways, there's my beef. Boy, that's just looking better and better as that's starting to kind of cook. Ooh. Oh. My grandmother would be proud of this. Well, my grandfather would too. They'd be like, oh yeah, give it to me. Get some gravy on me. Mash you down. Get some gravy on me. Alright. So once I get the corn going, which you don't need to watch me boil corn or anything, you'll get to see it at the end here. But once that's done, I'll get the meal together. I'll show you what it looks like on a plate with everything that I've done so far today. We'll get it all on a plate. Then I'll package some of it up in one of these and show you that it is possible to have something like that. So hang with me. We'll be back with the finished product. All right, folks, as promised, here's the finished product. We got the 2 hamburger steaks, my au gratin potatoes, or my cheesy, yummy potatoes, my super sweet corn here, I've got butter on it already. And then here is my little to-go container. I've got 2 meat patties, a serving of potatoes, and an ear of corn in that also. So there we go. That was it. It was nice, quick, and easy. It really was. Of course, I take all day because I am filming, and it was for dinner. But if you're going to do this from start to finish, definitely start with your potatoes first. That's going to take the longest, about an hour, hour and a half total. That's from start to finish with the cooking of it, refreshing the potatoes, getting those good, ready to go. The hamburger steak and brown gravy, nothing to it, nice and easy, quick. It probably only took me about 15 minutes to do that. And my corn, there it is. I mean, from freezer to pot. And there we have it. If you was to do this from all start to finish at the exact same time, an hour and a half because of the potatoes. You'd get a head start on those, then you do all this, all the rest of it while it's in the oven cooking. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications because I will be posting up more videos. Have a fantastic day and enjoy that single life. Have a good one.